Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, we want to thank you for our interviewee, Mr. Arif Fikri bin Abbas, for agreeing us to interview him on this wonderful Saturday morning. So today we from UniKL MFI need to propose an interview to one of a personality in Malaysia that give a significant contribution to the society, and we choose you as our personality to interview for our assignment. So without further ado, I want to introduce myself. I'm Hafiz bin Ahmad Abbas, student of mechanical engineering, and I will give the opportunity to all my colleagues to introduce themselves as well. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Muhammad Akil Benkiruddin. I am third year mechanical student from UniKL MFI, and nice to meet you, sir.
Hello and good morning. My name is Nader Mushir bin Mansor. From Mechatronic Engineering Department. Nice to meet you, sir.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Firdaus bin Islam, and I'm a mechanical engineering student. And nice to meet you, sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Muhammad Shami, and I am a mechanical engineering student. So I will continue our interview. So, sir, can you tell us about yourself?
All right. Nice to meet you guys as well. I'm Arif Fikri. A bit doubtful on the choice me as somebody significantly impacted the society, but anyway. So in terms of professional work, I've been involving in work for 5 years, 8 months, not so long, pretty new. I graduated in 2014 from UiTM Shalam. I studied computer science for diploma and then took bachelor in software engineering. Also from the same university. Right now I'm 28. Still not married, quite daunting, but yeah, never say never. I think that's all.
Okay, so can you tell us about your involvement in software engineering?
Okay. My line of work revolves around providing tech solutions, right, to businesses to make profit. So the kind of organization that I seems fit is quite vast. So the fortunate part of it is that I get to work in different industries, from the like of e-commerce or online banking or online marketplaces, and then video streaming, and right now with an airline. So I think it all started off with just interest to computers, and then I have always been a fan of electronics, and it wasn't so much of programming at that time, but as you know, the interest grows in you. It's after SPM I found out myself to define the further education. That is when you start doing research, all this university, the location, the course duration part of it, and that is, I think, where it all started.
Okay, sir, may you tell us what is your current position in your current company?
I am currently a software engineer at Asia. I'm involved in building mobile application for the airline. So to give you a little deeper idea, is that the airline business has huge components to cover. So it's one tiny bit of it is tech, and tech alone is divided into sub-components as well. So I fall into the division where it's prior of achieving this customer, which means it covers the promotion, the sales, the booking, registration, or any document gathering for them. And then there's another different division that will look into the check-ins, the seat assignments, flight scheduling, any routes revenue, etc. Also, there's other business venture like the non-airline initiative, if you may have heard, like Big Bay, any Tune Hotel, the Red Tickets, these are also part of Asia. So the umbrella is big, but yeah, one tiny bit of it is tech, and that is me inside there.
Wow. Can you share with us your proudest achievement since becoming a programmer?
Proudest. So I think I would say different persons see different things as proud, right? So for me, I think I would say proud when I see a user literally using your shipped products. So I was at a cafe and it was I think 8 at night, and when I turned around to leave, I saw like 3 young lads watching a football match. I think it was a Liga Malaysia live stream, and only as I move closer to leave, I immediately can pick up the interface. It's the same player that we have built. So I think getting to know that your work has been impactful to user and allowing this user to do things that they couldn't have done. So I think that's what made me proud. From Asia perspective alone, I would say we did a work for supporting accessibility. So the idea behind accessibility is allowing handicapped users. So imagine if you can't see, you're blind, how would you know where to board, what time is your flight? So these things require us to support. So we did some feature where the app allows this user to hear, the app can speak, tells the user these important informations. So I think the proud part for me is getting to know that these users actually impacted by your work is part of it. Maybe it's part of the tech culture as well. People that I look up to, like the likes of Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, these people are very humble, and they're not so much about the career achievement, it's how much their work has actually impacted the other users.
I will take over the question. Thank you, Shami Fakrul, and thank you a little bit about your career, Mr. Arif Fikri. So, as we progress, we as a student of UniKL, during our studies, during our first and second year study, we faced so many challenges like assignments, group projects, people that are circle of friends that we are in, and then there was a lot of challenges in our studies. So in your time of studies, in during your UniKL time, do you face any challenges within your studies?
Absolutely, no doubt I did. But
maybe
name a
the
few.
point of computer engineering problems, because we as a mechanical engineering problem, our problem should be like reports and then calculation and stuff. But mostly our problem is based on getting the ideas of new projects and how to like conduct a certain project, which is kind of hard. So in the point of software, in the point of computer engineering, what kind of difficulties that you face?
So in terms of idea, I give this in the perspective of choosing the final year project. It was a tough one for me, mainly because the idea that I want to propose was not really accepted by the lecturer. So the hard part was it to convince people that that you can pull it off. So I think in this kind of problem, I think you have to keep believing in yourself, and you know what you can do, right? So I've always been a believer of the new, you know best what you are capable of. So also it's the same as work, as running a business. If you think about what if you allow others to judge your own ideas that you entirely believe in, I think it's kind of gonna end up people being demotivating you. I give an example. So when Instagram started, Facebook was way ahead. Facebook was like 3 or 4 years old business. It was a mature product. But Instagram started with a photo sharing app. So there's no way in any perspective that you can convince people that this app could succeed. But think about it again, is that something you can entirely do on Facebook? You just share photos. But Instagram founder itself being so convinced with his idea, he said he can do something different. He has different vision. So he proceeded with that idea, and at the end of the day, in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, Facebook ended up buying Instagram. So my point is that if you believe in your ideas could succeed, I think it's only you that can put into the work and the brain cell to it to make it happen. And it is not so much of who did it first. I think even Tony has been saying this when we wanted to do the AAsia.com, the business ventures. He even keeps saying it was not Airbnb first before Expedia or Agoda. It wasn't Apple before BlackBerry. It wasn't AirAsia before Cebu Air or Jetstar. It isn't who was first. It was more into pulling off your own idea and trying to convince people, if you need money, of course, convince people that you have something, a material out of your own idea. Other challenges I see as a student, I would say that throughout the course, it is not all subjects like a smooth sail. There will always be subjects that you find super hard to deal with, right? So I think in this perspective, I think that's gonna be everybody's problem, right? It's hardly a person that loves it all. So there will be these kind of subjects, but I think you have to have a little patience and try to push harder. And there's a saying say that only a diamond can cut a diamond. So it's if you have a hard subject, it's just you need to work harder and put more effort to beat it. There's no other way to go around it. So I think those two. There might be more, but it's 5 years ago, so I might have forgotten most of them.
Okay, thank you for your piece of advice. And then, what about your leisure time? I mean, during your studies, that's about the curriculum activities. What about the extracurricular activities that you do, such as sports or anything? Do you join any student representative council, or you join any sports carnival during your studies, or you just focus on your studies only and didn't bother any of these activities?
I involve mostly sport. I think sport has taught me a lot of things in life, and I would encourage anybody to do sport, and not really in a professional way, but as extracurricular, it would be great. I think sports starting to teach you on how you can stop thinking about just winning, and there's always finding a best version of yourself. And if in study of in working environment, there's always going to be someone better than you, like someone cleverer than you. So knowing if you are better than yourself yesterday, I think that is something sport has taught me. There's also a saying at work that never be the smartest person in the room. So the idea behind is that once you being the smartest in the room, you stop learning and striving to learn new things. And also it takes a lot more confidence to join a team full of smart people, right? So I think in extracurricular activity sport, and I would say like what you guys doing right now, it's like being a little closer to the industry, knowing how does the industry work, and knowing people, making better networks. I think those are the good ones.
Okay. Yeah, I agree that sports, just like in my opinion, I think that sports really connect all the students in the college. Me, I think that's a way to know people better. So in the terms of friends, so you must have a circle of friends that you are comfortable with, and there must be someone, maybe if not, there are a few people that you are not comfortable working on with. So this kind of situation everyone will face, like we are being in a small group and we have to conduct a group project or assignment, anything with someone that you are not comfortable with. That happens a lot to me and one of my colleagues. So do you find yourself in our situation? If you do so, how do you handle that kind of situation?
Sure. Um, Definitely agree with this one, and it becomes even further harder when friendship comes into the picture, right?
Yeah.
So I'm giving you in a perspective of working environment. So in computer or software engineering, there's a lot more to the job than one person alone. There's project management, there's software testing, HCI, just computer interaction, production engineering, or the networks. So working in a team requires you to be seen outside of your single expertise. So you have to be a team player. Like it or not, there's no man is an island. So no one is self-sufficient. So we rely on each other. So to achieve a wonderful product, you need to work together. And I always find people that you're always gonna find people that you can't really work with. But I would say try to compromise and try to make yourself be able to deal with them as long as you can, and try to this is the honest answer, yeah, try to find people that you can work with. So I in Asia alone, there are people that I can't work with, but I have to keep deal with them as long as I need. And then at the same time, a company is a big company, right? There's not only one person, and then that's the only person that you have to work with. So find other people that you can work with. You don't need a lot. You can be one or two people that you can entirely comfortable with, and try to find an idea to actually be able to work with them. So that's the honest answer. But the key to any problem working with people, I would say try to start conversation early. If you have problem with someone, if you keep that problem within inside yourself, it might consume you. So having that conversation early, avoid it to make things even worse to a level where things could explode, right? And probably having a face-to-face conversation. Sometimes if you're text messaging, things can get out of control. So if my manager texts me right now, might think something else. He might think something entirely different. So having face-to-face conversation, I think, helps a lot.
Okay, thank you for that piece of advice as well. Last question from me. During our studies, the whole duration of your studies, there must be ups and downs in your studies. I mean, your journey as well as your life. Then, most people don't know how to handle in their downside of their time, and certainly when we are in such a failure, any problems that we face, and how do we encourage ourselves to keep on going, to pursue what we started from the beginning, and how to keep ourselves focused on our study and not giving up. Do you ever face that situation before, and how do you manage to do it?
In that scenario, I think this might sound foolish, but I play sport and then I found out I'm not good at it. So I better be good at something, right? So you have to study harder. For inspiring or instilling the eagerness or the motivation, I would say I joined events. For something outside of campus, I I join events where I get to meet people that I look up to or people that I want to be. So during my campus years, I went to a couple of events, and these are outside of the university program. So I skip classes like 3 or 4 days to go to these events. The first event that I joined was by Google. So when you join this kind of event, you start to imagining yourself being a different environment, and you stop thinking of this is it, right? This gonna the 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 atmosphere that you are in when you were down mostly gonna end anytime soon. So you're just gonna hold up until that happens, right? So you kind of stop thinking about that is forever. That's gonna be forever. So you start working yourself out of that situation. So I think whenever I have that, I think it's quite a motivational boost. And for you guys, probably finding a way to meet people that are in mechanical, that are in mechatronics, and maybe look at or visit in real life, seeing the end product of this industry have made, and you start thinking this is not going to be end of everything, right? So there's a time that this can end. Like maybe it's a bad subject, maybe it's the bad teamwork, but at that time you start thinking it's more than this problem alone. Yeah, I think meeting, instilling new ideas, and most crucially meet new people. It is just that you have to divert yourself from the problem that you currently have when you feel you give up, and knowing there's more outside there in the world than this UniKL, this around of people you're in.
Okay, thank you for for your uh, for your opinion about that matter. So next, I will hand the interview session to one of my colleagues, Nur Adam.
Arif, can you
Okay.
share with us about how you handle pressure at work?
Pressure. Of course, if you're working in Asia, one way is to go holidays. The one of the perks of working in an airline is that you get the free tickets, so you can go holiday if you feel pressure. But I think, yeah, I would say when you have pressure, it's mostly the abundance of work that being dumped into you, right? So I would say um, you have to start taking one thing at a time. So work pressure is, I think, mostly that when you start being swamped by the work being piled at you. So I learned about this when I did a part-time job just as a front desk or receptionist back in when I was 19. Is that during one Chinese New Year, there were floods of people wants to check in. So I was at the counter, right? So imagine 30 people rush into you and wants to check in. You feel the pressure, right? You feel this 30 people has to get into their room in 30 minutes. But one senior front desk or receptionist came to me and said, forget about the 30, just do one at a time. It's just one guess at a time. It wouldn't be any harder than that. So once you stop thinking about the 30 and those 29 disappear, it's just one, right? So you felt less of that intense pressure. So the moment you start panicking is the moment you start being less efficient. So knowing your limit and doing, I think, doing quality work and what you think is right, rather than trying to do a lot and trying to fulfill a lot of people. I think for me, maybe that.
Arif, I'm going to continue with Nur Adam's question. How do you secure to get a job with a big company such as AirAsia? We know that AirAsia is one of the biggest company, Malaysia's company, flight company in Malaysia.
It is not so complicated. I applied via acquaintance, so a friend who's working inside, and then he passed over my resume, and then I did 3 interviews. So there were first one with hiring manager as usual, talk about your expectation, what salary you want, how much money you need, and then second will be the technical interview. But before the technical interview, there will be a technical test. So there is an exam that you have to go through. After you have gotten that, I think the passing mark is about 60. After you have finished that, you have technical interview. So the technical test version is online. It's a for me it's a programming question lah. So there is a question, you have to write some programs. And then the technical interview would be you meeting those engineers from the company, and then they will be asking a couple of questions. So these mostly are scenario-based questions, like if you are to build a chatting app, how many server do you need? What is the response time? How many database you need? So that isn't, it's more like spontaneous answers. I think they want to test a little bit more on your architectural abilities rather than technical in that perspective. And then lastly, with your reporting manager, these are the people that you will work with, that you will report to. And finally, they came back with an offer. And that is where you can negotiate for the salary. So there are 3 or 4 stages to that, I would say. Yeah, but
if you don't mind, sorry, if you don't mind me asking, how long did you wait after you graduate and the day you get the job?
okay, so Asia isn't my first job. I joined, the first job that I joined was via an internship program or practical industry training. That was immediately right after I finished. For this one, from, if you're asking about from the interview, from the application until my first day of work, I would say 2 or 3 months. 2 or 3 months. So I applied, and then the process, because this interview does not happen in one day, right? You get called again, and then the test. I think roughly 2 or 3 months.
Okay, next question is, do you agree that professional and personal life should be separated?
I don't know. I don't think I can answer this one. I'm sorry.
Maybe like how's your personality during your work and during your leisure time? Is it you can separate those personalities, or you just be the same person?
I think being the same person. I always think that just be yourself. There's no need for somebody else, right? So this is especially being true when I deal with managers. I don't know. I'm probably a bit of a rebel, but when I talk to my manager, why do you suddenly have to change your voice, right? Why you suddenly have to think of different words? Why you then suddenly have to say sir or stuff like that? So to me, just being yourself, it is you that inspires them to hire you, and it is you that actually, that personality that actually let them build better products. So I think if the question is personality, I think it's the same.
Okay, next question. We know that you work with AirAsia, and what is the most challenging task that you face at your job?
Most challenging, I can say, I think it's in any job, is working with people. It is not really I think you are after in the first couple of years of working, you'll find that the working is hard. The technical part of working is hard, like writing a code, deploying the correct code. After 4 or 5 years, you start to get used to it. This becomes like your bread and butter, right? So what's hard is working with different people. Once you jump into a different environment, there's a different kind of processes you have to go through. So it is down to being able to work with different people is probably, I think, one of the hardest. But if you think from the bright side, right? So you get to meet different kind of people as well. So I would say my advice in this case, for working with people is, despite you might find one company that you have circle of people that you're super comfortable with, right? You can work for 5 or 6 years, but that comfort zone is something that you have to break. It is best for you to work with different people in having more experience, and as you climb up the career ladder, you have to actually able to handle different kind of people as well. So meeting different people, working with them in the first 5 or 6 years, like me, will help you in become a manager one day and handling about the same kind of quality of people that you are working with right now. So I think challenge is cope with different people and different personality. Yes, I think that's it.
You said that to cope with different people in your working area is one of the challenges that you find for yourself. So this is my final question. Do you have any experience working with foreigner or maybe working abroad?
No, I unfortunately have not, but I would love to. We'll see. Something that I have to work on. But I've worked with foreign people here in Malaysia. So I've worked with people from Germany, Syria, and then a lot of them are Australia because AFIQ was in Australia, and then Italy, India a lot, Asia. Asia has a lot of India, Iran, and then Africa. So working with foreign people is, to me, interesting. I actually quite love it. It gives you different perspective in things, right? So you start to break the conundrum of stereotypes that you usually have. And I think, for example, like the stereotype of saying you don't know, right? Stating the fact that you don't know something does not make you stupid. So you have to, once you break that stereotype and being people from different culture, right? You don't feel that shy of that stereotype being thrown into you of letting people know what you don't know, right? So I think you start to gain confidence, especially when they start learning from you as well. And I always believe that this diversity is important in working environment, because I've been into an environment where it's all Malays as well. And I think that's not the healthiest environment to work with. So my advice would say, yeah, go work with other people from different background.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arif. Now I'm going to pass the session to my friend Fidos. Thank you.
Thank you, Akhil. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We know that the job that are related to IT is one of the demand jobs in this era. So my question is there anybody or things that influence you to enter this field of work?
Influence, not as much. I have some uncles that are working in the same industry, but I think influence, not as much. It's more of interest. If I would say, from when I started, the interest is part of me liking the tech world. it is also the tech industry at that time was quite booming, from the Silicon Valley startups like of Facebook, Google at that time. They all just started. So these kind of companies starting to inspire you, but not really what influenced me. I think it's more of interest.
Okay. From your point of view, what kind of preparation should fresh graduates do to face the struggle in searching the job?
Okay. I can't speak precisely because I believe I are not in the similar domain, right? But I think utilize internship, industrial training as much as possible. That is the stepping stone for you into the industry. So find companies that you really want to work with. Don't simply just do it for the requirement of the course. Other than that, I would say create good networking with people around that industry. So same goes to this job, like the Asia job, and the previous one not so much. This one especially because I know people from Asia. So that actually makes things much smoother and easier process where they could recommend you to go into the company. And on top of that, you as well get an insight of how things work inside the company. You never know, right? It could be a super profitable company, but at the same time, the environment might be very toxic. So try to build a network around that. Now we have social media, right? It's quite easy to reach out to people. So I think that is the way for to find job.
Okay. Some of people they have many ambitions. So if you don't mind, if you are not a software engineer now, what other ambitions would you achieve?
Sure. This is an easy answer. Hands down, architecture. So I think I adore how much design is part of something meaningful. Yet it might be qualitative nature, right? But it's taken for granted. So I would say architecture.
Okay, this is the last question. In your opinion, what kind of ethics do young people need to excel as an engineer?
Okay. Ethics. I don't know so much about ethics, but I would say what quality, right? So I think in terms of quality attribute, I would say knowing how to be like. It might sound a bit cynical, but knowing how to be like. So in order to have your opinion heard in a team or in a company, you have to be someone that they can have a conversation with. Else your conversation gonna be discarded. So it is not about the smartest person in the team. It is about people being someone that they are comfortable to talk to and share opinion about. So in other words, it might sound quite foolish as well, is that knowing how to crack a joke is important. So in a bigger organization, there are more instances you have to deal with people. So it's knowing, because aside from excel in your day-to-day job, in let's say engineer, excel in doing your project, finishing in time and making profit. It is also how you're not going to be an engineer forever, right? So it's also how you going to climb up that ladder and becoming managing an engineer, managing a project. This thing is not going to happen if you are not someone in the organization that people are comfortable to talk to. Yeah, I think that, yeah. Probably that.
Okay, I think that sums up all our question from all our interviews. We would really like to thank you for your time you spent with us for around 1 hour, I guess, 50 minutes. So, with your permission, we'd like to share this interview video with our classes, our lecturers for grading purposes. If you can consent to that.
Sure, definitely. But before we end, maybe I could ask one question. So it's unfair, right? You guys have asked too much, not one from me. So
Okay, sure.
probably if you able to pick any company you could work in this world, what company will that be? And maybe why? Each of you.
Oh, sure. Okay. Any guys? You guys want to start first? Okay, never mind. Okay, as for me, I think what I study in mechanical engineering. So mechanical engineering is such a vast. I think it's a vast course, meaning that you can go to the automotive industry, aircon, trains. There's so many departments you can go to. But specifically, I would like to go to. Actually, I would like to go to the aircraft department, but there's a course that separates us between mechanical engineers and aircraft department. But I think some of my seniors, they already goes to aircraft company and they succeed in doing so. So I think it's not a challenge. I think it is a challenge, but I believe in that. So the reason I would like to go to the aircraft uh, department is that to be a pilot was one of my ambition when I was a child. So, but I'm afraid of heights. So, doing I think that being in a aircraft department is kind of nice, and I think that from out of most like buildings, vehicles, trains, and everything, I think that aeroplanes excite me the most.
Cool. And actually, Airbus used to propose that they want to build a manufacturing center here in Seremban, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if that's happening. But if that actually happens, maybe it's a good place to start.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
How about you guys?
Okay.
Muhammad Akil? Okay.
Oh, okay, first. Okay.
No, no, you go first. You know, you go first.
Huh?
You go.
Hello.
Hello, Fidos.
Yes, yes.
Yes, your turn.
Oh, me first. Okay. My name is Daud. So, the thing that I really want to go is automotive because even today I pursue my degree in mechanical engineering. Since in secondary school, I have to do lot of research about cars. I really interested with cars. So, how do I describe? Okay, even today, I still learn about cars. I do some research and then I learn from mechanic. I don't know, just it is because I love cars. I love the engine. I love how it works. I think that's all.
Cool, man. I think you're on the right path. I think I would say go for it. There's nothing stop you. And I have one question. Are you into racing? Are you into F1?
Yes,
Are you into F1?
F1.
No.
I think I don't really interest too much on F1.
Okay. Okay.
The normal car.
We could be friends if you're into F1. So the rest, Akil and Shamu? And
Uh, for myself, I would like to be. I'm imagining myself 10, maybe 5 years ahead to be part of Petronas team engineer. It's kind of silly, but this is how
it's
it's
not silly. Nothing is silly.
for me, it's kind of silly because I used to go to KLCC because I live nearby, and seeing people working with Petronas with their Petronas like that and walking around KLCC seems cool for me. So to be part of that too. I know it's Petronas is a bigger company. It's have more than engineers. They have their research team and so on. But I just love mechanical and I want to be part of that.
I have a friend who's currently working in Petronas, and um, they're probably not so, but he is, I think, chemical engineer, so he's going to the offshore a lot. So probably that is something puts him off after he settled down. Right? But yeah, it's a big organization. I'm very proud of Petronas, especially for F1 because they are sponsoring Mercedes team. But okay, that's a side note. So Shami,
I think maybe I will apply to the automotive session because I like the car, the engine, the racing car. So I will try from Proton first, and then I will try apply Audi, BMW. It's all a dream.
sure man, sure man. Look even outside of the country, right? I think uh, German engineering is something that we need to learn from them, and it is not just about being in Malaysia, but maybe for first job is kind of hard, but it is not wrong to actually have a dream about that. Same for me as well. It is not just Asia. It's always there will be always Netflix. There will always be Facebook. There will always be bigger companies. So yeah, sky's the limit. Be Adam.
I think I like a machine because before I take mechatronic, in diploma I take manufacturing and I intern at Penang. This company they are building machine from zero until setup. So I as a leader assemble. So I jump to mechatronic because I really like they do programming setup system. So I think I more to go for the programmer.
Cool. Yeah, I think each of you has something in mind already on the kind of industry you want to jump into. I think what you can do is try to find out people that work in this company and try to start having conversation on how you can actually join some of their programs. It is not like immediately sending resume, right? So join a few their programs, try to um, actually know what kind of tools they're using. So there are different kind of tools for different companies, and I think being being someone that already familiar with tools that they're using day to day is a good advantage for you. So I hope I'll see you guys in the professional world, and good luck.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Arif, for your time. You really inspire us with all your advice and suggestions. And we really thank for your time. I think we made a perfect choice choosing you as a personality for us to interview. Okay, I think that's all from us. We again, we really like to thank you for your time.
Very most welcome. Great to see you guys. Bye bye. Have a good rest of weekend.